Does body language and the evidence prove that Joe Biden is guilty of a Tara Reade? Find out next. Welcome back to the channel, Shakers. Derek Van Shake here. First, this video is not politically partisan. We've all heard stories of how former Vice President Joe Biden gets a little too close to people, especially women with odd hair-smelling accusations.
Get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head.
Weird kisses.
And then he reached over and put his hands behind my head and pulled me close, and I thought, he's going to kiss me. He started rubbing noses with me.
And awkward close holds.
I've got a lot of thanks to give.
Many probably thought that Joe's just a little odd like that and just likes getting really close to people. Since there was no other accusations against him, that was before Tara Reade came out with her story and accusations over the past few months. Tara Reade was a staffer to Joe Biden when he was a U.S. Senator. Tara claims that Joe Biden assaulted her in a hallway around the U.S. Capitol building in 1993. After mounting pressure to respond, Joe Biden finally agreed to address Tara Reade's credible accusations on MSNBC's Morning Joe. So we're gonna break down Joe Biden's body language along with other evidence to find out if he's actually guilty of these serious allegations. Remember, although Joe Biden has the most amount of delegates in the Democratic primary, it's technically not too late to swap him out for a Bernie Sanders, an Andrew Cuomo, someone else, or maybe it's something that the voters can look past. That's up to the Democratic Party and the voters. However, if these accusations are true, where more evidence and more women come forward, some think the Dems will be handing over the election to the GOP and might as well put a MAGA hat on Joe Biden. Regardless of politics or anything else, the truth must be revealed. Now, let's get started.
The former Senate aide accuses you of assault.
And then when I gave him the gym bag, it happened all in one motion almost. And he had me against the wall. And then his hands were down my skirt and up my skirt. He then, with his hand, went from there and entered with his hand, and as he was trying to kiss me and saying things to me.
The guy who ended up becoming our national leader said, I can grab a woman anywhere and she likes it.
Trying to kiss me, and I was pulling away.
They asked me, would I like to debate this gentleman? And I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Kind of jolted me, like I was trying to think what I did wrong.
Not a single woman in America asks herself the question, what did I do? What did I do?
He said to me when he pulled back, he pointed his finger at me and he said, you're nothing to me. You're nothing. And then he straightened his clothes and he went away.
Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you assault Tara Reade?
Now watch this and see what you think of Joe Biden's first denial of Tara Reade's accusations. See if you can spot any possible deceptive body language, and then we'll rewind it and break it down.
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened. No, it is not true.
First, Joe Biden gives an incongruent head nod when he makes his big denial. Instead of a congruent, denying head shake, all of you try this right now. Say yes, and now say no. It surely felt very odd to do that. But not to someone who's lying. When someone is telling the truth, everything will be congruent. Their facial expressions, the words they choose, their tonality, their body language. If any of that is off, they may not fully believe what they're saying, such as when they're lying.
I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened.
Biden continues with the incongruent head nod and even brings his hands in to emphasize the nod. Remember, this is not just anything he's denying. This should be the denial of his life, of supposedly wrongfully accused of one of the worst things someone can be accused of. And he's massively incongruent and even continues and builds on his incongruency, indicating deception.
And it didn't. It never happened.
Also, Biden starts repeating himself to convince you and not just convey. Since liars know they're lying, they'll subconsciously try to convince you that they're not, which causes them to overcompensate for their lies.
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
He can't let his first words of denial just sit because he doesn't believe in what he's saying. So he seems to feel the need to overcompensate for the lie.
Do you remember her? Do you remember any types of complaints that she might have made?
Now see if you can spot any possible deceptive body language when Joe Biden answers.
I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made.
There's a massive cluster of nervous, deceptive body language here. First, increase in nervous blink rate and even closing his eyes for an abnormal amount of time.
I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made.
Second, a good amount of sudden shifting and rocking in his seat, indicating nervousness and discomfort with the question.
I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made.
Third, nervous cough as he answers because of nervous tension in his vocal cords. In body language, we rely on clusters, timing, and patterns, not just one signal or a random nose touch. By pulling it all together gives us a more accurate read of how he's feeling and what's really going on. Joe seems to remember a claim like that being filed against him.
I wrote the Violence Against Women Act.
You released a statement on Medium. There's only one place a complaint of this kind could be: the National Archives.
This is the first time in the interview that the National Archives is mentioned. Yes, that's where Joe wants to divert everyone's attention. We're going to hear a lot more about this coming up soon.
If there was any such complaint, the record will be there. Are you preparing us for a complaint that might be revealed in some way? Are you confident there is nothing?
Now notice how confident Joe Biden comes across when he answers.
I'm confident there's nothing. I'm not worried about it at all.
Well, maybe he is telling you the truth after all.
I'm not worried about it at all.
Joe Biden admittedly was a stutterer as a kid. We rarely hear him stutter much now, except when he's extremely nervous. Clearly, he's not very confident and appears worried about this. But why would he be so worried if this accusation against him is completely bogus, with supporting evidence like he's trying to make you believe? That's just it. The accusations probably aren't bogus, and the evidence is actually against him.
If there is a complaint, that's where it would be. That's where it would be filed.
Why would there be a complaint filed against you in the first place, Joe, if you're as innocent as you claim? That's not what a perfectly innocent person would say, especially someone who is as perfectly innocent as he's claiming. Right, they would say something like, there won't be a legitimate complaint filed against me because I never did anything like she's claiming. Go and look through all of my records. You won't find any complaint like that.
And if it's there, put it out, but I've never seen it.
He was either there or not there. He should know better than anyone whether or not it happened and whether there's going to be a complaint like that in his records.
Look, this is an open book. There's nothing for me to hide. Nothing at all.
He's an open book, he said. Nothing to hide, nothing at all. Remember, he said that as we continue.
You were unequivocal, Mr. Vice President, back in 2018 during the Kavanaugh controversy and hearings, and you said that women should be believed. You said this:
It's important that people understand, and I think people do now, understand how hard it is to come forward. It took her a lot of courage for her to come forward. It takes enormous courage for a woman to come forward and the bright lights of millions of people watching and relive something that happened to her. The woman should be given the benefit of the doubt. I believed her when she came forward, but I hope that they understand what courage it takes for someone to come forward.
It seems like you get it now versus back in 91.
Well, I think I got it in 91.
Now, notice how Joe Biden opens up Anita Hill's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in 1991. Notice his demeanor, tonality, and body language.
It is appropriate to ask Professor Hill anything any member wishes to ask her to plumb the depths of her credibility.
Right, he's smirking like a giddy middle schooler and was pointing up to make it clear that the senators have the full authority to ask her seemingly any sexual questions they want.
I knew I had made him angry. because I insulted him by pulling away and stuff. It was awkward and horrible. You need to button up more. You need to dress less provocatively.
Was it what I was wearing? Never, never, never is it the woman's fault.
And it was soon after that I was put in a windowless office, and my supervisor of the interns was taken away, and I was not allowed to have other contact with staff, and I was told to find a job within a month.
The most terrible sin one could commit is the abuse of power.
When I applied for jobs, after word got around that I filed a complaint, I couldn't get a job on the Hill.
It's all about the abuse of power, number one. Number two, women should be believed.
Now, this is towards the end of the Anita Hill hearing, and apparently he received some backlash for the way he treated Anita Hill. But as you listen to the words he says, watch his apparent staffer's body language closely and see if you notice anything odd.
They got the wrong impression about how seriously I take the issue of sexual harassment.
Yes, her face is priceless. She first looks over at Joe Biden kind of like, are you really going to say what I think you're going to say? Then her mouth drops in an eek moment. And then notice her eyes widen in shock and disbelief in what all seems to indicate, I can't believe Joe Biden, of all people, is actually claiming this.
This was not the atmosphere in my office at all.
I must tell everyone else, I take sexual harassment seriously.
Your Senate documents at the University of Delaware were supposed to go public.
Look how much he's sucking in his lips as soon as Mika mentions his files at the University of Delaware archive. Liars will sometimes suck in their lips because it feels good, especially at that moment. First, it gives them self-comfort to make it feel like their mouths are super shut so the truth can't escape. And second, our lips are very sensitive, which provides a soothing feeling to suck in on them during a time of high stress and possible danger of lying or being caught. Now, right when Mika starts talking about the University of Delaware files, Biden starts showing some odd emotions. Watch.
And then they were resealed. You were saying any HR complaints could be in the National Archives, but why not reveal your Senate documents that are being held in Delaware? I know there's 1,800 plus boxes. If she believes and she alleges that
he flashes his bottom teeth, which indicate anger and aggression for this topic.
The complaints may be hidden.
Then Biden gives a big, inauthentic, nervous half smile.
There.
Then he follows that up with a tight-lipped smile, indicating he's holding back something. Those three things, anger, nervousness, and apprehension, one immediately after the other, indicates how he really feels about revealing his files stored at the University of Delaware.
Why not strive for complete transparency? Why was the access to those documents sealed up when they were supposed to be revealed?
It was after the incident that I did make a written claim outside the office because I had tried to follow protocol with the sexual harassment.
It would not be at the University of Delaware. They don't contain any personnel files. If that document existed, it would be stored in the National Archives where documents from the office she claims to have filed her complaint with are stored. That's where they are stored.
Biden has a sneaky strategy to try to frame the situation and bogusly exonerate himself from all this. He's massively diverting the investigation to the National Archives, which he surely knows won't have anything incriminating against him. So when they come up with nothing as expected, he can point to that as a full exoneration. And he'll say something like,
She said she filed it. If she was telling the truth, it would have been found there. See, that proves it didn't happen.
Sneaky, right? But the complaint filed isn't located in the National Archive. It's clearly in the University of Delaware archive. Tara Reade said all along that's where they would be. And listen to how defensive Biden gets over those files at the University of Delaware.
But there are claims and concerns and reports in Business Insider, and she claims that possibly a complaint or some sort of record of this might be at the University of Delaware. So for complete transparency, why not push for the release of any documents with Tara Reade's name on them, whether it's at the University of Delaware or the National Archives?
Why not open up his files at the University of Delaware?
First of all, let's get this straight. There are no personnel documents. They don't get put out in the public. So they're not part of the public record.
Yes, Biden is trying to divert everybody away from those files at the University of Delaware. But this is only the start.
You have said in the past that if a woman goes under the lights and talks about something like this, we have to consider that the essence of this is real.
And I was sitting on the back stairs, and I just remember the coldness and my whole body shaking and feeling alone and feeling scared and not knowing what to do.
To look into the eyes of the women who were abused in every social strata.
Is the essence of what she is saying is real? Why do you think she's doing this?
What would you say if you were innocent and you were wrongfully accused of one of the worst things like this? What would you say? Now listen to what Joe Biden says.
I'm not going to question her motive. I'm not going to get into that at all. I don't know why she's saying this. I don't know why after 27 years, all of a sudden this gets raised. I don't understand it. But I'm not going to go in and question her motive.
Joe's not going to question her motive? Tara Reade's claimed motive for speaking out is so the truth can be revealed about Joe Biden. And he's not going to question that motive? He's acting extremely guilty. If someone were to lie about you like that, wouldn't you offer other possible motives to counteract their bogus motive that they want to reveal the truth about you? Which for an innocent person would be a terrible, slanderous, disgusting, bold-faced lie? What she's accusing him of is one of the top worst things anyone can lie about. And he's like, meh, I'm not going to question that motive. Oh, and he's not done yet. Listen to this.
But I have a right to say, look at the facts, check it out, find out whether any of what she says is asserted or true.
So he doesn't deny it here and isn't outraged by those assertions against him. He just wants you to play junior detective. This is ridiculous. If someone accused you of doing something so terrible, would you be like, check out the evidence and see what you think? Any wrongfully accused would be livid, angry, and would be doing everything on earth to clear their name.
But Mr. Vice President, as it pertained to Dr. Ford, high-level Democrats said she should be believed, that they believed it happened. You said if someone like Dr. Ford were to come out, the essence of what she is saying has to be believed, has to be real.
No.
Why?
And no, what I said, it has to be.
Why is it real for Dr. Ford, but not for Tara Reade?
Now listen to Biden again. The way he's acting is ridiculous and incongruent with the situation.
I'm not suggesting she had no right to come forward.
Yeah, Biden seems to have been caught. He defends Tara Reade's right to come forward, but if Biden is as completely innocent as he's claiming, she has no right to come forward with a bold-faced, disgusting, slanderous lie to intentionally ruin his career. That's illegal. She only has a right to come forward, as Biden said, if what she's saying is what she believes to be true. So Biden is actually correct. Tara Reade does have a right to come forward because what she's saying is true.
And I'm not saying any woman, they should come forward. They should be heard.
Wow, Uncle Joe is so generous. He even wants the people who illegally slander him to come forward.
And she makes the case, or the case is made, then it should be believed.
He's talking about this like he's an attorney representing Joe Biden. Joe Biden's demeanor, body language, vocals are not at all congruent with the situation. We don't hear any form of hurt, pain, anger, outrage, emotion at all. Wouldn't it be so painful to sit there and hear terrible false accusations against you? Have you ever been falsely accused of something? How does that feel? I can't imagine accusations any worse than this. And Joe Biden's just sitting there saying, I think everyone should be heard.
But ultimately, the truth matters. The truth matters.
Tara Reade has a lot of evidence in her favor. She told a lot of people, including her brother, her neighbor friend, her mom, the exact story she's telling now when it happened 27 years ago. And her mom even called in to Larry King Live after it all happened to ask what her daughter should do. Watch this.
San Luis Obispo, California. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
She was furious, and she said she educated me about sexual assault. At that time, I really didn't look at it as a sexual assault. I thought I did I felt like I put him in a bad position. It's strange to say, but I felt like I did something wrong. She said, I want you to make a police report. And I said, Mom, who do I call? It's the Capitol Police. Like, he's the most powerful, one of the most powerful people in the world. And she said, you need to march into the office lady to make a harassment claim.
Also, guess which political party Tara Reade and her friends support? Yeah, they support Democrats, and they've been voting Democrats their entire lives.
I'm a lifelong Democrat. I voted for Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama.
Her neighbor friend who vouches that Tara told her this same story said that she will still vote for Joe Biden because she thinks Joe Biden's a better choice than what we have. These are not Republicans. Tara Reade admitted that she didn't initially tell her full story. Here's why she didn't tell it in full initially.
I think the biggest one was fear of retaliation. I was too frightened then to talk about it and didn't really have the framework then to, how to come forward and all of that. And then also my daughter is now grown up, and I want that generation, your generation, to be able to be in your workplace and be safe and be able to talk about it if your boundaries are crossed and not be, retaliated against.
Are you absolutely positive there is no record of any complaint by Tara Reade against you?
Now, you're not going to believe Joe Biden's response here. See what you think about deception.
I am absolutely positive that no one that I'm aware of ever has been made aware of any complaint, a formal complaint made by or a complaint by Tara Reade against me at the time this allegedly happened 27 years ago or until I announced for I guess it was in April or May of this year.
I don't think Joe Biden actually knows body language is a thing. Liars typically use a lot more words than those who are truthful because they're constantly trying to navigate around the truth while also trying to convince you of their story and not just convey it to you.
At the time this allegedly happened.
Biden also says allegedly happened. He's talking like his own mentally declining lawyer. He was either there or not there. He should know better than anyone if it happened or not. So why is he saying allegedly? If you were accused of something terrible you did not do, would you ever use allegedly to describe it? I think especially at this point in the video, we all know why he's saying it allegedly happened.
Why not approve a search of her name in those records?
Approve a search of her name?
Yes, and reveal anything that might be related to Tara Reade in the University of Delaware records.
Whoa, that's a good point, right? If there's nothing in those University of Delaware files about a Tara Reade accusation, what's the harm of searching those files for anything with her name on it? That search should come up with nothing, according to Joe Biden. What do you think? Do you think he'll agree to that search?
There is nothing. They wouldn't. They're not there. And if it's, I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
The point I'm trying to make is that
there are no personnel records by definition.
Now look at Mika with that sideways squint, which shows skepticism and suspicion. Apparently, she's coming to terms that Biden is being very deceitful, trying to divert, and something very incriminating is hiding in those files.
Why not do the same in the University of Delaware records, which have raised questions because they were supposed to be revealed to the public, and then they were sealed for a longer period of time? Why not do it for both sets of records? I'm just talking about her name, not anybody else in those records. A search for that.
Look, this is an open book. There's nothing for me to hide. Nothing at all.
This is so bad.
Nothing classified with the president or anybody else. I'm just asking, why not do a search for Tara Reade's name in the University of Delaware records?
Look, I mean, who does that search?
The University of Delaware, whatever is the fairest way to create the most transparency.
Go look in the National Archive for anything you want on Tara Reade, but not the University of Delaware archive. Stay away. It's hilarious that Biden sat down in that chair to be interviewed, and that was his game plan, and apparently didn't expect much pushback or suspicion that he's fighting to hide those University of Delaware files from being searched.
Files at the University of Delaware don't have anything on Tara Reade, so you don't have to search there.
Oh, okay, Joe. Thanks for your help. We'll take your word for it.
Did he really expect that's the way it would all go?
She said she refiled a report with the only office that would have a report in the United States Senate at the time. If the report was ever filed, it was filed there. Period.
It's obvious to anyone with even an ounce of common sense he doesn't want those files searched for her name because he knows there's something incriminating in there. I would be surprised if he's not pulling a Frank Underwood from House of Cards after this interview to get someone to clean out those files at the University of Delaware of anything incriminating. It's a university. Those files are probably stored in a doorknob lock closet in the school library. It's not Fort Knox. Joe Biden clearly seems to be lying to you about this, but this is the first time he's blatantly ever lied to voters.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes.
But he never actually marched in the civil rights movement at all.
What law school did you attend, and where did you place in that class?
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees, 165 credits. Be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Well, maybe not so much. As you may recall, he's received other creepy allegations, weird touches, and photographed giving odd kisses. There seems to be a little bit of a pattern of this type of weird behavior here. Yes, Biden clearly appears guilty here, but the bigger question is if other evidence and other possible victims will come forward now. I hope the mainstream media covers the story fully and not just interview him this one time and then wash their hands of it, because the truth needs to come out to all the voters, regardless of politics, and for the victims to be heard.
Would you go under oath? Absolutely. Well, she subjected herself to cross-examination. Would you do that?
Absolutely. Joe Biden should take the polygraph. What kind of precedent does that set for survivors of violence? Does that mean we're presumed guilty and we all have to take polygraphs? So I will take one if Joe Biden takes one.
Ultimately, it's up to the voters to decide if what Joe Biden did is a big deal or not. Currently, Joe Biden has the most delegates to get the Democratic nomination for president. But technically, it's not too late to swap him out. So if the party wants to trade him out for a Bernie Sanders or an Andrew Cuomo, those are possible options for the Democratic Party to decide. Give this video a thumbs up if you think Joe Biden lied. Give this video a thumbs down if you think Joe Biden was truthful. Now in the comments, what do you think should happen to Joe Biden for us? Her? Should he bow out of the Democratic primary or go to jail? Or maybe you think it shouldn't matter because it happened 27 years ago. Let everyone know in the comments below. Remember to hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on new body language investigative videos where we always seem to shake up YouTube. And I'll see you at the top.